let's hope they can keep it clean as we get all set for the start of round 25 of the Green Flag MSA British Touring Car Championship. Away we go. It's a good start from poleman Thompson. Thompson initially away well. Ivan Muller has to slot into second place behind him. Then it's the Honda of Tom Chilton, a black car, and Matt Neal on the inside. Matt Neal holds on to third. Chilton is in fourth place. The two MGs trying to get up there as well. And everybody's got off the start line safely, I think, this time, and through Riches cleanly. And Jason Plato has started from pit lane.
No question, if James Thompson was a drag racing expert, we'd say he had the best reaction time. I watched his car jump off the grid as soon as those lights went out. He got the initial drag, a perfect start for him. Muller probably okay in second, Matt Neal in third, positions as per the grid.
Down the inside, Carl Breeze trying to make a move there. I hope they don't run out of space. Sometimes it can get a bit tight coming through the S's. Thompson still leads from Ivan Muller. In third place is Matt Neal, then Tom Chilton. It's Anthony Reid and Colin Turkington then in the two MGs, with Dan Eaves running seventh, Rob Collard in eighth, Luke Hines in ninth, and Rob Huff is in 10th place. Good start that from Rob Huff. We're riding with Matt Neal in the dice for second as they come through Russell Chicane. That's the slowest corner on the circuit. About 50 miles an hour through there. Huff! I'm sure that's Rob Huff that's off. And he had got up to 10th place, but now he's lost all of that ground.
Well, that's a disaster. He had a really good start. Here we see a replay. We're coming round Coram. Oh, and he's had a touch from James Kay. Got out onto the marbles. Absolutely no chance. And very lucky if he doesn't have a big disaster for him. It's going to be very difficult to get back into the top 10.
Well, a little light touch, but they're doing 100 miles an hour there, so a light touch can have pretty devastating consequences. In fact, I think he's got away with it fairly well. He is still running, but it's James Thompson that leads from Ivan Muller and Matt Neal. Now, Matt Neal carrying a bit more weight than those guys around him. Dan Eaves, meanwhile, was making a move on Colin Turkington as they headed down in there. We're on board with Tom Chilton. Chilton running in fourth position.
If Plato can get alongside, it is possible to break round the outside. Oh, he's done it beautifully before they even got to the corner. Gives his rival racing room. That's sensible driving. He can now block if he needs to into the bomb hole. He has done that. He's got that position, and now Watson-Smith's got his hands full of Hodges.
This is the race for third place. He's driving down the inside into the bomb hole. Oh, you never go through there, but Tom does. He's gone down the inside, and Tom Chilton has moved into third place, passing Ivan Muller.
Yeah, and with a big oversteer there in the middle of Coram at 100 miles an hour, we can see he's driving on the maximum. That was good to move over. He passed. Oh no, don't start doing that, Tom. As soon as you get the car sliding up you like that, you'll slow out the corner. But a very brave move down the inside of the bomb hole, and Muller sensibly, and perhaps he obligated to give him room, bearing in mind his championship position.
Yes, he couldn't afford to be fired off there, and it all narrows up here. Tim, talk us through it.
Looks like Muller's run a little bit wide from the S's. He knows Chilton's up the inside. He knows he's going to force his way through, so he doesn't turn in on him, goes through the corner side by side.
Jason Plato is still some 2 seconds behind James Kay. He's running out of time to close up that gap and take 10th place. And of course, if he finishes 11th, he'll start in 11th place for race 2. Will Plato? So he'll have to do it all over again, work his way through the order as much as possible. But this is the one we're watching. Ivan Muller, fourth. Oh, and contact between Watson-Smith and Stefan Hodges. Oh, he nearly goes over. That was on the approach to the bomb hole.
Well, I suppose Watson-Smith would say that was payback to Stefan Hodges for trying to put him in the pit wall at Brands Hatch, but we didn't see the start of that, but that could have been very dangerous. The car so near to digging in and rolling over. Could have been a huge accident.
There's race leader James Thompson. Matt Neal in the orange Honda running in a clear second place. Chilton in third. But what about fourth place? Turkington now with a chance of taking the inside line into the S's. Muller still battling, but how hard is he prepared to fight it? He still has the inside line. No, Turkington's taken it.
Well, that was some desperately late braking. It looked like they were going to go around the first part of the corner side by side. Oh, there's dirt on the track there. They both caught it. Wow, big. Has Muller got a chance back up the inside in the corner? No, I don't think so. Yes, good driving by both of them, particularly Turkington, to break that lane and get in front.
But here comes James Thompson to take his fourth victory of the season, his first win since Silverstone in May. It's been a long time since Vauxhall have won a race, but finally they've done it. Matt Neal's finished in second already. Here comes this pair racing still for fourth place, but Turkington it is who takes fourth. Ivan Muller finishes in fifth place. Now, Dan Eves finishes in sixth, then it's Rob Collard. Look at these guys, we're trying to be 10th. All across the line together, and let's just check the timing as it comes through. James Kay there, I think, ended up finishing in 9th. Luke Hines dropped back to finish in 10th, and Jason just missed out. He finished in 11th. It didn't quite work for him.
It didn't quite work, but a great drive from Plato nevertheless from the back, and he'll be disappointed, but he will lose some weight now and start with a lighter car for race 2. But an excellent result for Thompson, just what he wanted. Pole, fastest lap, a comfortable race win, a car that is handling excellently. He's put his rival Muller under pressure. I told you he was looking cool at the start of this meeting, and he's looking even happier now.
Yeah, but don't forget, he starts race 2 from 10th place. He starts it with maximum ballast, and he will have his work cut out when it comes to race number 2 of the day here at Snetterton. But what a perfect start to the day for him. Pole position and just stormed away after a perfect getaway. Great to see, and you can just see the delight emanating from that car, can't you? Fist waving in the air. James Thompson then wins the first race of the day from Matt Neal in the Honda. Tom Chilton making it a 2-3 for Honda. Colin Turkington grabbing 4th, and Ivan Muller having to settle for 5th in the end. Dan Eves finished in 6th ahead of Rob Collard. Anthony Reid dropped back a bit there to finish in 8th place, but James Kay and Luke Hines finished 9th and 10th, and they will therefore start on the first row for the second race of the day. Welcome back to a very sunny Snetterton in Norfolk. We're all set now for round number 26 of the Green Flag MSA British Touring Car Championship. And James Thompson, who won the earlier race today, now has to start back on row 5. Luke Hines, his teammate, his younger teammate in his first season in the top level of touring cars, starts from pole position. Alongside him is the very experienced James Kay, a former independence champion, a former production class champion. He's never won the outright title. He's not going to win it this year, but he could be on for a race win here as they set off on their formation lap. Good getaway from Luke Hines, but everybody just using this moment to get some tyre temperature. And we're going to see Michael Bentwood coming out of the pit lane because they didn't manage to get his car ready in time to form up on the grid when they came around out of the pits, but they have repaired it in time to get him onto the back of the grid. And that's good news for Michael Bentwood. He had an incident with Carl Breeze at the end of the first race, but thankfully he's on circuit and he's joining the grid. So let's look at the lineup then. On the front row we've got Luke Hines, the youngster who's had 1 race win this year, and James Kay in the Synchro Motorsport Honda alongside. On the second row of the grid, another good battle coming up, because on there we've got Anthony Reid and Rob Collard, and Anthony dropped back in that first race just to make sure of a good starting position for this second race. Rob Collard's the reigning independent champion. Then behind them we've got Dan Eves and Ivan Muller, so we've really got to keep an eye on the Frenchman here. He dropped to 5th place in that first race. He's now 9 points behind James Thompson, but remember, Thompson starts even further back. Colin Turkington and Tom Chilton on the next row. Tom was flying in that first race. He found a way to get past Ivan Muller. He's looking very confident as well, I have to say, here this weekend. Then on row number 5, the top 2 from the first race. Matt Neal now carrying 30 kilos of ballast, and James Thompson starts 10th carrying the maximum ballast, plus 42 kilos. It'll be hard work to get away. And right behind him, Jason Plato and Rob Huff are now running with light cars because they didn't get a decent result in the first race. They can really go for it. No ballast aboard those cars at all. Behind them, we've got Jason Hughes. We've got a couple of people that have been moved to the back of the grid. John George lines up alongside Jason Hughes there in 14th place. Next up, 15th place, we've got Michael Bentwood, although actually I think Michael will have to start at the back after coming out of the pit. Stefan Hodgett's car, well, they've been busily trying to repair that and get it ready for this second race. I'm not sure they've actually managed to achieve that. I don't think they have. He'll be out for race number 3, but not for race number 2. Richard Marsh and Fareed Harriman in the Proton towards the back there as well. And Carl Breeze and Sean Watson-Smith have been put to the back. Carl Breeze because he's had an engine change, and Sean Watson-Smith because he was told off for the incident involving Stefan Hodgett. That's the lineup then, Tim. What can we look forward to here?
Well, a great scrap at the front, certainly. Luke Hines will be desperate to get a good result under his belt now. Don't forget it's contracts time coming up, and he wants to make the most of his year this year. He's had 1 win, as you say. James Kay showed some great pace just recently, particularly at Brands Hatch, but don't discount that man, Anthony Reid.
So let's see what happens then. It is the 22-year-old Luke Hines on pole position, son of world karting champion Martin Hines, who manages quite a few top drivers as they try and move up through the single-seater ranks. But alongside him is one of the veterans of the championship. That is James Kay, the 40-year-old from Yorkshire, who had a great result at Brands last time out when he finished in 4th place. What can he do this time? Watch out for Rob Collard on the 2nd row. He always loves this Snetterton circuit, always seems to go well here. But Anthony Reid in the MG, I think, could be one to watch too, in the black MG on the 2nd row, looking to produce some fireworks. Dan Eves and Ivan Muller right behind them as well, and Muller desperate to close up the points gap to Thompson. So we're all set for the 2nd race of the day here at Snetterton. The lights go out. Who makes the best start? Good start from Rob Collard and from Anthony Reid, but Luke Hines gets away from pole position. The youngster doing a fantastic job there, and it's Anthony Reid who's moving up into 2nd. Everybody's bunching behind. It's all getting a bit close there. Matt Neal in the middle of that pack. Colin Turkington right there too. Thompson's not away very well. I saw Plato already ahead of Thompson, and James Kay down the inside. It's getting a bit close as they go through Sear, and Rob Huff comes out, and so does John George. John George on the grass.
Well, it's already kicked off in this 2nd race, hasn't it? It only took 2 corners. Somebody was off in the 1st corner, and then 2 more at the 2nd. It was actually off the start line. That's Richard Marsh. He spun out in the 1st race. Let's hope he can get going. A great start by Luke Hines, and Reid was able to slot through from the 2nd row and get there. But it was actually from the outside of the front row, James Kay, that got a miserable start, and that blocked off Collard as well, and everybody on the outside of the grid was slow away.
Well, I have to say, Ivan Muller is in pretty good shape here in terms of championship-wise, because Thompson's mired down in 9th position at the moment. He didn't get off the line particularly well. Luke Hines, as you say, making a good start. Muller in 3rd place, rather behind Anthony Reid. And then right behind them, they've got to watch out for the likes of Colin Turkington, who's in that group. But look for James Thompson. Look how far back he is with the white strip across his windscreen. Moving to the outside here, Rob Collard, who also had a fairly disastrous first lap because he started on the 2nd row, and Thompson with a lot of work to do here.
Well, at the moment, it's definitely advantage Muller in the championship, isn't it? He's got a great start.
So, heading round Sear corner now, and Luke Hines breaking away with Anthony Reid in 2nd, coming under pressure from Ivan Muller. But here now comes Dan Eves, teammate to Matt Neal in the competition racing with Halford's Honda. And Dan, who's had some great runs this year, he was really out of luck at Brands Hatch. He had a fire and a puncture, a horrible time there. Look at Plato in the background too. Plato currently running in 8th position in car number 11, and Plato also making some progress. But Thompson, stuck down in 10th place, really needs to get on with it, carrying lots of ballast, but it's proving to be hard work.
Yeah, it's from the back of the grid also. Sean Watson-Smith has had a good run. He's up to 13th. But look at Plato, he's charging. That was a good inside pass through corner on Turkington.
Yeah, that was a great move from Plato, getting past the MG, and Plato could be one to watch. Remember, that car's now running quite light, so he's not got ballast to worry about. The top cars come across the line then. It's still Luke Hines from Anthony Reid. You're looking from on board the Frenchman, Ivan Muller, who knows he's got a chance here of closing that points gap back to James Thompson. They've been separated by so little all year, and here's an opportunity for him to close the gap back up that was opened in race 1. Through Sear corner they come, one of the slowest corners on this track, about 60 miles an hour through there, but then building up, accelerating up to over 130 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour as they head down to the breaking point for the S's.
It's a great battle, and Luke Hines is doing a good job actually so far this race. He's made a good start, he's got into a rhythm, and he's got the opportunity to build on that lead if he can, but don't discount. Well, Reid has closed up dramatically on that lap, and straight away, as I say that, he's on his bumper. Now we'll see what Hines is made of.
Yeah, Luke Hines must have made a little mistake somewhere, but no, Reid can't afford to do much because Muller's on the inside. Oh, at corner they touch. Surely there was a touch. Reid was sideways. Muller's now got the inside line, and he's going to take 2nd place here from Anthony Reid. Muller goes 2nd, it's still Luke Hines leading, but the Frenchman's now moved up 1, and Thompson is still down in 10th.
Well, that called on Anthony Reid's car control skills par excellence in that fast 105, 110 mile an hour corner, and he won't thank Muller for giving him a tap on the way in. Granted, he didn't give him much room, but these two have a lot of history behind them, so I think Reid will be looking to fight back.
Yes, indeed. Look at behind there. James Kay making contact with Dan Eves. Oh, it all goes wrong. Eves is spun out That started at the previous corner. James Kay and Dan Eaves banging doors there as they came out of Riches, and they pay the price as they come through Sear. It's still Luke Hines who leads this race, but Eaves now out of the challenge for 4th place. That's where he was running. No longer, I'm afraid.
Well, poor Dan Eaves, he was actually spun out the end by his own teammate Matt Neal, but totally blameless. Oh, look at this! Oh, and Luke Hines has gone white.
I saw the oil flag there, Tim. That's what's happened. They're all hitting oil.
Yeah, you're right. There's oil down. Luke Hines went wide. He's now got dirt on his tyres.
Well, coming through out of Coram now, and Anthony Reid back into 2nd place. Ivan Muller back down to 3rd. It's all changed again. 4th place is Turkington. So Colin Turkington has come up from 8th place last time around into 4th position as they come across this line again, and the completion of 4 laps. Where do we look next?
Well, it could well be that there's a lot of mud and dirt down at that Esses. There's always a lot of action there. These cars do take a lot of curb and a lot of grass, and this time of the year with it all dry, it brings on a lot of dust and dirt, and that's just enough. Well, we're seeing a replay here of the Kay and Eaves incident. Kay gets up the inside, pushes Eaves out just as Matt Neal's turning in, and it taps Eaves into a spin.
Just too many cars trying to go for the same piece of road.
This is the on-board from Matt Neal. You can see in front, there's James Kay up the inside. Matt's just waiting to take a nice line through the corner, and all of a sudden, Eaves is pushed out towards him.
Well, all happening at Sear Corner, but meanwhile, Luke Hines is still the race leader, despite running wide here last time. He keeps it on track this time. Anthony Reid in 2nd, Ivan Muller having worked his way into 2nd, now back in 3rd, then it's Turkington, then it's Plato. Yes, that's right, Jason Plato is now 5th, ahead of James Kay, Rob Collard, and James Thompson has taken advantage a bit of some of those dramas. He's now up to 8th place.
Well, these guys having to drive almost like rally drives, aren't they? The track conditions are changing every lap with the amount of debris they're bringing on, but through it all, as you say, Plato and Muller working their way through.
So Luke Hines comes across the line this time to complete his 5th lap. So far, so good for the youngster, looking for his 2nd win of the season. But Anthony Reid shadow his every move. Then Ivan Muller, then Colin Turkington in 4th place. Jason Plato has moved up a lot of places already, and in fact Plato has the fastest lap in this race. It was set on lap number 3, 1:12.510. So it's Plato now who's putting the pressure with that yellow stripe across his windscreen. He's putting the pressure on the youngster Colin Turkington.
Well, Plato and Sayat were saying they were going to struggle this meeting, having had a 25-kilo weight penalty put on their base weight, but it doesn't look like they are. Granted, he's had some weight taken off, but look at the speed of that car as he goes past Turkington there down the straight. He's now running on his standard base weight, and clearly the car's got great pace.
Yeah, he's now into 4th position, and really there was nothing Turkington could do about the speed of the Sayat on that occasion. The other Sayat's running in 10th place, that's Rob Huff. But just a little bit at the back of this group, just saw him go through. But there is Plato, and Plato is catching Muller. Now, grudge match or what? Ivan Muller and Jason Plato, they had a coming to get that was across the grass. Matt Neal, by the way, there, just coming through Russell. So he's lost a bit more time. But they hit each other at France last time out, these two. They've hit each other in the past, and back in 2001, when Plato won the championship, they came together here at Snetterton, and the S's both were flying across the grass. They both survived it, but here comes Plato now, challenging Muller. Muller comes across, but Plato's got the inside line. Nothing he can do, and Plato's into 3rd place.
Well, that time it was very clean, but maybe it's not quite over yet as Muller fights back, but he's on the outside. Certainly Muller ran into Riches a little bit quick. That's twice he's done that this meeting, once in qualifying, once in the first race. Plato, the opportunity, straight up the inside. Now it's a battle of the late breakers into the S's. This is going to be so close. You can go around the outside. Muller's done it. Great late braking. The touring cars slightly better brakes than the BTCC cars, and Muller needed every little ounce of braking there to get around the outside of Plato. So he'll have to start that fight back again.
Wonderful racing between these two champions. Muller, the reigning champion, Plato, the 2001 champion. And in those days when they were teammates, they weren't great friends. But the rivalry there, I have to say, was very clean as they came through the S's. Plato did not push Muller out as they came through the corner. It was a fair move. And Thompson, you can see, still struggling with the ballast that he's carrying. He's right behind Rob Collard. Thompson still running in 8th place and aware that Ivan Muller's on for scoring some more useful points. We're looking at the back of Matt Neal's car from Tom Chilton's Honda. And Tom, of course, had a great run in the first race of the day, finished 3rd. Now he's a bit stuck down there. Plato and Muller are at it again. and trying to get in there is Turkington.
Oh, that was every lap through Riches and into Sear. It seems to be there's a lot of action. Muller was holding this whole gang of cars up, and it's resulted in Plato getting back through into the lead. And this time he's got enough of a gap on Muller. He should be able to brake and stay in front.
So Jason Plato this time is up into third place. Ivan Muller cannot challenge once again into the S's, I don't think. There's no room here. Almost touching the back bumper of the Seat. How much closer can the Frenchman get? But behind him is the black MG of Colin Turkington. Then a tiny gap back to James Kay, Rob Collard and James Thompson. And Muller needs to stay with Plato here to see whether they can close that gap up that's opened up to Anthony Reid running in second, and race leader, who's doing a fantastic job so far, and that's Luke Hines.
Well, I think Plato's actually going to get an escape now. I think he's going to leave Muller, and Muller's going to be left to fight off the attack of Turkington, Kay, Collard and everybody else. So it's opportunity for Plato. He's now got a podium position, but I think he will get away. Yes, and Turkington's still all over the back of Muller.
Also saw Rob Huff trying to put a move on Matt Neal in the background, but he didn't get past. Matt Neal stays in 9th place. Rob Huff is in 10th position. But as you say, it's really Ivan Muller who's under greatest threat here from the MG of Colin Turkington, sporting that short-term direct sponsorship for the first time this weekend, and looking to get through if he can. Get through on the inside, perhaps down in towards the S's. He does make the move, tight to the inside, but no, Ivan Muller fends him off. And they come through the S's once more with Plato easing away in third place and Muller having to do everything to stay in fourth.
Yeah, just at the back of this little group behind them there, or in the middle of the back behind them, is Thompson. He's fighting the heaviest car on the track, having won the first race. Oh, look at that slide from Muller as he takes a wide line into Coram. And Thompson's just trying to pick up as many points as he can and lose some weight for the final race so he can attack once more.
So up across the line they come this time, and our race leader is Luke Hines. He has an advantage of 0.8 of a second. 9 laps completed now, so there are still 7 laps to go. Hines with a gap over Anthony Reid, and then Jason Plato. Then it's Muller versus Turkington, with James Kay still running in 6th position, heading Rob Collard, James Thompson, Matt Neal, and then Tom Chilton, who's in 10th place, Rob Huff 11th, Sean Watson-Smith in 12th, Tariq Harriman in 13th place, ahead of Jason Hughes and Dan Eves. And really now it's a question of whether Colin Turkington can find a little chink in Ivan Muller's armour here, because Muller's looking very strong. The Vauxhall's generally much better here at Snetterton than we have seen. Sean Watson-Smith not going particularly quickly here. I think he's about to be passed.
He's taken off his front spoiler and splitter, so he's obviously been off somewhere and had some contact. We go back to the battle now between Turkington and Muller for the all-important 4th place, if you like, and more importantly, championship points. But this further back has leads to a great battle between Sean Watson-Smith, Tariq Harriman, who struggled in the first race. Here's the replay where it looks like it's going to be a contact between the two of them. Tariq Harriman actually going up the inside of Sean Watson-Smith and tagging him. I guess that Sean Watson-Smith had already taken his splitter off, and that's why he was slow.
Well, that's strange to see, isn't it? The two Protons almost taking each other off, and I shouldn't think the team bosses will be too happy about that, but for the moment they're still running 12th and 13th. There's Colin Turkington, he's running in 5th place, and chasing Ivan Muller. James Thompson, though, somewhat further back still, he's running in 8th place, and he is stuck. He can't repeat the sort of performance we saw in race 1 from Thompson, simply, Tim, presumably because of the amount of ballast that he's got to carry.
Absolutely. The weight is so critical to these cars when they're on such a fine performance level. You know, 20, 30, 40 kilos makes all the difference. And yes, it certainly spices up the racing for us, even if the drivers don't like it. But it's the same rules for everyone, so grin and bear it, chaps, and just get on with it.
I think and Matt Neal's getting on with it, but he's going off, and he's got damage to the front of that car.
Looks like he's gone straight on down at the end of the straight of the S's, probably elected to go straight across the grass and not realised how bumpy it is. Yeah, he's gone straight, may even have had a puncture. He had damage to that left front already. No, the tyre looks intact, but that is so bumpy, that infield section, that he really should have gone straight on when he realised he couldn't make it and just go up the escape road. Well, he tried, didn't he, but didn't make it.
You know who he nearly collected? He nearly collected James Thompson. I think he actually sort of made sure he didn't collect James, and that's what took him on the grass. But maybe it's more serious than that, because damage done to the car, and Matt Neal's race is over. He's had some bad luck here in the past, although he also had a race win here last season. Nothing more going to come from this race, I'm afraid. Matt Neal just stretches himself out and has to look forward to race number 3.
Disappointment, yeah, for Matt Neal. Second in the first race, but it just shows how the fortunes change. You throw the weight in the car, it's much harder to race, problems occur, and this is why Muller and Thompson really have been the class of the field over the championship, because, you know, Thompson's making the most of it. He's got the heaviest car. He hasn't thrown it off, had a problem. He's keeping it going, keeping the points going, and Muller's done exactly the same when in the same position.
Yes, and that's what counts at the end of the season. Muller still managing to fend off Colin Turkington at the moment as they come through Coram, back on the brakes hard into the Russell chicane, and there's no space for him to get alongside there, and Muller once more heads him out of the chicane. Up across the line, they'll be completing their 12th out of 16 laps here. That's the onboard shot. A relaxed-looking Ivan Muller, as ever, heading up towards the fast right-hander at Riches.
So the fastest car on the track, and he has been consistently over the last few laps, is Jason Plato. Some 2 or 3 tenths quicker than Hines and Reed in front of him. So it shows that Seat does have tremendous race pace. Look at Muller getting the pressure off the MG of Colin Turkington, the young Irish driver, desperate to add another victory to the one he famously scored at Mondello earlier this year.
Yeah, that was a great win for Colin, the 22-year-old from Portadown. Is he going to go for it down the inside here? Well, he did have a think about it, but Muller was later on the brakes. Oh, and he's pushing him round. Look at that wonderful stuff from both these drivers. Muller, the experienced, the veteran, the reigning touring car champion. Colin Turkington, definitely a star of today and of tomorrow. And we're going to see an awful lot more of this young man. John Cleland was saying to me when we saw him up in Scotland how impressed he's been with Turkington's driving all year long. And he's doing it again, but is he going to find that little chink, that little gap that he can squeeze that MG through and actually go into 4th position?
He's trying to keep the pressure on just to force a little mistake, maybe even give him a little rub and make him run wide. He's not going to pass him with a straight-out braking manoeuvre. He's requiring a little mistake or a little bit of assistance to get Muller out of the way. But, well, we've seen Muller make a few little mistakes just there, particularly on the exit of Riches, but he's not one for usually putting a wheel on.
No, that's right. So he's got to keep his nerve here and not make any mistakes. And if anyone can keep their nerve, it's probably going to be Ivan Muller. Dan Eves trying to pick up some of the lost ground after the incident he suffered earlier on. He's just moved into 11th place, past Sean Watson-Smith. Again, Turkington has a little think about it down towards the S's. Again, Muller is able to go in that little bit faster, protect his line, and hold on to 4th place. Out in front of this race, let's not forget what a fine job Luke Hines is doing. We're talking about the youngsters, but let's not forget Luke Hines, because he's set away from pole position, made the ideal start, and he's maintaining, there he is, a 1.3-second lead over Anthony Reid, and he won a race at Brands Hatch earlier on this year. He's had a bit of an up and down time ever since then, was very strong at Mondello, got a couple of podium finishes there, suffered a little bit in more recent events, but with Vauxhall hitting form here at Snetterton, as we saw with James Thompson in race 1, Luke Hines is now making the most of it in race number 2.
It's definitely a close battle, and Luke obviously likes to lead races. When he gets in front, he seems to make a very good job of it. That's one small Turkington looks up the inside into Sear, but so far a perfect drive by Hines. I think he's just going to hold on to it. Plato is catching Reid behind him, and that'll put Reid under pressure, but surely Luke Hines is going to get his second victory. It's this battle for 4th place that's really the exciting one. It's side by side, once again they come at 140 miles an hour. Muller will turn in, he knows he's got a little advantage. Will Turkington tap him and push him wide? No, he keeps it clean.
Yeah, that is good to see. That's the nice thing. They're not engaging in too much physical argy-bargy here, but it is clean racing. Plato, meanwhile, has caught up to Anthony Reid, so the battle for second is not all over. Plato's been gradually reeling him in, and it's now Hines, Reid and Plato. Top 3 were only separated by a couple of seconds as they came across last time. I think they may be even nearer. There you go. You can see how much closer Plato is to the back of the MG. And I think Luke Hines, going on to his final lap, has enough of a gap here over Reid not to worry. But Plato might put in a last lap charge. try and wrest second position as Muller and Turkington, you just can't separate these two.
Now, you'd think there was a tow line between them, wouldn't you? There's the amount of... Well, this could help give Turkington a better run onto the straight. If he times it right, he'll get a good run through the corner there. Yeah, that's good. That's very good. It may be a little bit too early, but when you get the slipstream, seemed like he almost had to back out of it then, but Muller's defending the right-hand side. We haven't seen him go down there, so he knows that Turkington's close.
Yeah, here we go then into the S's. This is where Turkington's had a look a few times, but not close enough. And as they come through the S's, it's still Muller, still almost pushed around by Turkington. We're running out of time now. Turkington needs to do something a little wide there from Muller. Not really a problem though, just Coram and Russell to go. Now you can sometimes be very brave and break down the inside here. I'm not sure he's going to have time. Luke Hines emerges from the last corner. He's going to take the win. Muller, I think, is going to hold on to fourth. Luke Hines will take his second win of the season here at Snetterton. Second place goes to the MG of Anthony Reid. Third place goes to Jason Plato. Fourth goes to Ivan Muller after a wonderful dice with Colin Turkington. Well driven to both of them. And then it's James Kay, and Thompson managed to get a place there at the end. Collard lost a couple of places on that last lap. He was passed by Thompson and Rob Huff. Useful for Thompson. It meant he finished in 7th place, and Muller only finished 2 cars ahead of him. Meanwhile, just coming through the last few finishers, including Michael Bentwood, the Protons coming through. Both cars have made it through to the finish, but not inside the points this time. The Union flag colours there of Jason Hughes also coming through, but a victory weave down the backstretch there for Luke Hines. He is elated, and he has every right to be, because that was a well-driven race.
Excellent race. We predicted Anthony Reid, but we didn't count on the virtuoso performance, dare I say, of Luke Hines. A great effort, perfect start, led every lap, under a lot of pressure from the closing Reid initially, and then Plato as well. No, only a second covering the top 3 at the end. A perfectly judged race. Well done, Luke.
Yeah, superb effort from him, and I think the team will be delighted. He's done everything expected of him here this weekend, and that's 2 out of 2 for Vauxhall. And when did we last see that? Well, it was a little while ago, let me tell you. 2 out of 2. Can they make all 3? Because remember, there's no reverse grid for the third race of the day. Really enjoying himself there through Russell. He was throwing the car around. But he will start from pole position, of course, Tim, for the third race. However, he will then have to carry a lot of ballast.
He will, and that'll create an exciting race once again. We've seen how difficult it is to race competitively with full ballast, but he'll be so pleased with his day. And Vauxhall as well, 2 wins. You know, they haven't won a race for 11, and then they won 2 on the same day. So a great result for them. Thompson is in a good position for the final race with lack of ballast. Muller's be happy with his 4th place, I guess. Managed to stay reasonably friendly with Jason Plato throughout the whole race, which is a good deal in itself. So yeah, an exciting race, but I'm really looking forward to the third one, and it'll really be a cracker.
Yes, it will indeed, and Thompson still will have the slight advantage in the points. Thompson gained 4 points in that race, but Ivan Muller gained 8 points, so he's closed up by 4. That'll mean the gap is still 5 points between them. James Thompson will have a 5-point advantage over Ivan Muller as we will go into the third and final race of the day. Luke Hines just bringing his machine into Parc Ferme, the area where the car will be checked for legality, make sure everything is as it should be. And the youngster has done superbly. As you say, it's a crucial time in the championship. He's got to prove himself as everybody looks towards drivers for next season. Anthony Reid comes through, having taken 2nd place, and he's put behind him some of the problems of Brands Hatch. They really didn't have a very good time at Brands Hatch, which was totally unexpected. They've always run well at Brands Hatch in the past, and now perhaps Anthony's put that behind them. His new engine ran well, and he's got a good 2nd place.
Yeah, only a moderate amount of damage on the front of his car, so that's good, although he has got to still keep his nose clean with the threat of a 1-race ban if he gets a fine or an endorsement. So a good race from Anthony's point of view. It'd be interesting to see what he says about that little tap from Muller going into Coram on the early laps that gave him an anxious moment. But yeah, very good result. It didn't affect his result. He wouldn't have, I think, beaten Hines anyway, and 2nd was a good result.
And Jason Plato in 3rd, another podium finish. And remember, he started in 11th place. So in terms of moving up from his grid position, Plato was the winner, overtaking more cars, I think, than anyone else. Made the difference with losing all the weight on the car. And there's Luke receiving the congratulations from everybody, team members, as he heads towards the podium. Great effort from him. And Anthony Reid also comes over to congratulate him. Really, Anthony never was quite able to put Luke Hines under pressure. The only time that it nearly went wrong for him was when they all slid wide through the S's. But even then, Luke Hines kept a cool head, didn't make a mistake, and held the lead despite the pressure from Anthony Reid. So that just shows, I think, a mark of his maturity this season. Even when things didn't quite go according to plan, he still didn't lose his cool, and he stayed in front. So there is Luke. He's very, very happy. But we're going to hear first from the man who finished second, Anthony Reid.
Anthony, you had an absolutely great start there.
Yeah, great start, got into second place, but we're running a new engine for this race. We had a problem with the previous one, and it just wasn't pulling. It couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. There's obviously some issue with mapping, but happy to finish second under the circumstances.
You were happy to swap some places early on with Ivan Muller as well, your old rival.
Yeah, I'm all these people that say Ivan's a gentleman. He is no gentleman on the circuit, and you saw that through probably the fastest corner in England. Very dangerous. He punted the back of my car. How I didn't go into the barrier, I don't know. So I was just happy to overtake him and get clear of him.
Lovely, thank you very much. Now we talk to race winner Luke Hines. Luke, we've not seen you on the top step of the podium for a few months.
No, since first race at Brands Hatch.
That was a nice, clean and tidy race for you.
Yeah, I managed to keep in front. Got a really good start. So that was what I was dreading, big time. Getting the start, because lately I haven't been doing good starts. I actually got a good start, got a gap, and just managed to, fight to death to keep it in front.
Well done. I think you did a really, really good job, so well done.
Thank you.
Now, on to third place, Mr. Plato. Jason, that was a great move.
Yeah, it was a good race from where we were, from 11th on the grid to get on the podium. So, yeah, I'm pleased with that. It's more points for the championship. But, yeah, it was a good race, I think. And I think, that'll be exciting for all the viewers back home. Well, I hope so, anyway.
Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vicky, and good to hear from the top three, Hines, Reid and Plato, after the second race of the day. Let's just confirm those results then. Luke Hines, the winner of his second race of the season, and it's here at Snetterton in Norfolk that he's achieved it. And in terms of the points now, it means that James Thompson still has the advantage by 5 points over Ivan Muller. Anthony Reid there, 2 points clear of Jason Plato. Matt Neal, of course, out of that race. Disappointing non-finish for him. Colin Turkington moving up the order gradually as well. Let's not discount him. He's in 6th place ahead of Rob Huff and Dan Eves, with Luke Hines now 9th in the championship. He's just collected another 15. In fact, 16, 17 points. He gained the extra point for leading, and a good performance all round, basically, from Luke Hines.
Welcome back to Snetterton in Norfolk for the final race of this, the penultimate weekend in the Green Flag British Touring Car Championship. Now, earlier on, we saw James Thompson and his teammate Luke Hines take top honours in races 1 and 2. And as the boys get ready for race 3, I'll hand you over to your commentators, Ben Edwards and Tim Harvey.
Thank you very much, Vicky. We're all set then for the third race of the day. Still perfect conditions. It's been ideal weather here in East Anglia today, and we're now looking forward to the final touring car race. Luke Hines, winner of race 2, will start from pole position for this one, but now he carries maximum ballast as a result of that earlier victory. Anthony Reid alongside him in the MG, and with a few problems sorted out, that MG could be fast on the second row. Jason Plato now carries 18 kilos, but watch out for him. He's been very quick in both races so far today. And Ivan Muller, who's trying to close down a 5-point lead in the championship for James Thompson. On the third row, it's Colin Turkington, who pushed Muller so hard in race number 2, but never quite managed to find a way through. And then it's James Kay, who tangled with Dan Eves earlier in the race, but still managed to come through to finish in 6th. James Thompson starts from row number 4, and it's Thompson who's got the work to do here. He's carrying not much ballast at all, pretty much fully light. He's got Rob Huff alongside him on that 4th row, and he's got to try and catch Muller. Collard and Tom Chilton are back on row number 5, and Rob Collard, as we saw, can get beaten by Huff and Thompson on the last lap of race number 2, but this time he'll try and stay ahead of Tom Chilton. So those are the top 5 rows. Further back down the grid, we particularly need to keep an eye on Matt Neal. Matt Neal starts back on row number 9, and no ballast at all on that car, but he's so far back because he suffered a puncture in race number 2, and went off as a result and wasn't able to get back to the pits. So Matt Neal, Tim, could be the one to watch from the back.
He certainly could, but he's got an awful lot of work to do. I think the guys that could be good are certainly Rob Huff, because he's got a fairly good starting position. And his car was very quick in the last race, and he's already lost some weight. So he needs a good first lap, but one to keep your eye on for sure.
So Vauxhall have won the first 2 races of the day. Can they make it 3 out of 3? Luke Hines is best placed to do that, and he now brings the car into position, on pole position, with Anthony Reid next door. But watch out for Ivan Muller, the second of the Works Vauxhalls on the grid. He's on the second row, nearest us with the red windscreen strip. And it's great to see those 2 great rivals, Jason Plato and Ivan Muller, side by side. They had a good dice in race 2, and it was relatively clean. I think Muller might have been making the odd comment afterwards, but nonetheless, it was all pretty clean between them in that one. Not too much damage done, but he wasn't very happy, Muller. You see him just preparing there. He wasn't happy with the setup on the car, and I know that they've been changing things between race 2 and race 3. Let's find out if they've made the car a little faster for the final race of the day here at Snetterton. We're all set to get underway. It's 16 laps once again of the 1.9-mile track. Away we go, and it is a good start from Muller. Ivan Muller makes a scorching start from the second row, and it's Muller who gets ahead as they head towards riches for the first time. Rob Huff is going with him. Where did Rob Huff come from? Because that was a very quick start from Rob Huff, I think. And Muller now trying to defend as they head up towards here, and Huff's trying to go through on the inside. I'm not quite sure how he managed that, but Huff somehow has emerged leading as they head down the Revit Straight.
Well, I said look out for Rob Huff. He was on the outside, got a brilliant drive. Luke Hines held up the inside of the row by not getting a good start, and Huff was away like a shot. Brilliant.
So it's Rob Huff that leads, Ivan Muller in second place, Reid and Thompson. Thompson trying to go around there at the S's but couldn't make it. Hines is now behind Thompson. Thompson has to go through here trying to make up the ground. What's going on there? Oh, a wide line there from Anthony Reid. That might give Thompson the chance to go through. But it's Rob Huff, the winner from Brands Hatch, that leads. Ivan Muller in second. Reid under pressure from Thompson. Will Thompson go for the move into Russell? No, he doesn't. So there's a gap developing between the top 2 and the race that's going on for third between Reid, Thompson, Hines and Tom Chilton, who also got away well.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting battle this between Muller and Huff. Muller said in the last race he was paddling with the extra ballast on. He said he was going to put the sails up and race this time.
Look behind him though, Reid crossing over to the inside to defend from Thompson. Thompson can see the top 2 getting away, and he wants to get past Reid here as quickly as possible. Now James is on the inside, he outbreaks the MG, and as long as he doesn't run too wide on the exit here, he's up into third place, and now heading down the Revit Straight, building up to 140 miles an hour. You're riding with Tom Chilton, who's in 6th place, right behind race 2 winner Luke Hines. Towards the S's they come, and look at Huff and Muller still very close, but now Thompson with the task of closing that gap.
Thompson will try very hard to at least keep Muller honest and catch up a little bit. I think these early laps are decisive when you've got the weight balance coming into play with the cars at the front starting heavy. You don't want to be stuck behind them for too long, so Thompson will be pleased to get past Reedy so quickly.
Yes, and that means he's only 1 place behind his big championship rival, Ivan Muller. Further back, you can see Turkington in the pack, so's Dan Eves, Rob Collard, and Matt Neal has done well, because Matt Neal started way down, and he's in 11th place already, but he's now behind Rob Collard, and James Thompson found it a tough task to get past Rob Collard in the previous race.
Collard is a very wide driver if he needs to be. He's got a stock car racing background. He knows how to keep him behind, but Matt Neal looking up the inside. We'll have to see if he got through. Well, Collard's out wide. He'll shut the door. Look at that. I told you he was aggressive, but I think Neal's cleanly up the inside. He still needs to get a good exit out onto the long Revit Straight. He looks to have done that without running wide. So, yes, he's through.
Yeah, that brings him into 9th place. So, Matt Neal, having started way back on the 9th row of the grid in 18th place, is now up to 9th already. That's a good effort, but look at Luke Hines and Tom Chilton racing side by side. Chilton with a... Oh, no, they tangled. Hines and Chilton tangle as they come into the S's there. Chilton's on the grass as a result, and what a disappointment, because they were racing hard there for 5th place.
Yeah, they didn't give each other quite enough room there. We've seen you can get 2 cars braking side by side round there. Well, it looks like Chilton just comes in. He knows that Hines is there, but he could have gone round the outside, but tried to take the line. Unfortunately, Luke Hines had his nose just up the inside.
That was the view from on board Tom Chilton's car as he spun to the stop on the grass there. Luke Hines still managing to keep going, but look how Thompson has caught Ivan Muller. Now we have a race between the two great rivals in the championship, the two champions of the last 2 years. Lights on James Thompson's car. Richard Marsh is off again. Well, nothing untoward there, unusual there, I should say. We've seen that a bit today, I have to say. Oh, he got a bit tied up, I have to say, behind Farik Harriman. He was a bit out of luck there because Harriman suddenly slowed in front of him. Wasn't a lot Richard Marsh could do about it, but look how close now James Thompson is with the white windscreen strip right behind his teammate Ivan Muller, as we're now riding with Matt Neal, and he's trying to get past Colin Turkington, and he's on the outside here. Now he has the inside line into the S's. Oh, this is good racing from Matt Neal. Hard, aggressive, forceful, but effective racing.
Well, that's how you outbrake someone around the outside into the S's. You give them enough room, you brake round the outside and then dive up the inside into the right-hand section, which follows immediately after the braking zone. Good pass by Matt Neal. The big loser has really been Jason Plato. He's gone from 3rd all the way down to 11th. So he got muscled back primarily on that first lap, but not a good race for him. The guys out setting at the pace, obviously. Rob Huff, Muller and Thompson looking fantastic.
Yes, Dan Eves just crossing the line, but there is Thompson, very fast. He's got the fastest lap of the race, and it's a new lap record. It's faster than this lap he set earlier on today. So James Thompson in 3rd place there in car number 2 with a new lap record, and he's chasing after his big championship rival, his teammate Ivan Muller. It's all come down to this. We've only got the last event of the championship to go at Donington after this, and this could be absolutely decisive. Thompson now looking for the chance to get past Muller.
Huff hasn't managed to get away, but maybe, just maybe, if Thompson starts attacking Muller, there'll be a chance. Has Muller got an inside here? I don't think he's close enough. No, not quite. It was very close, but Huff ran a little bit wide. He's obviously just struggling a little bit. They have been changing the setup all weekend, but he had good race pace in the second race, so I thought he'd have enough to get away, but maybe his chance will come if Muller is attacked by Thompson.
Rob Huff enjoying his time in front. He won last time out at Brands Hatch. What a result it would be to do it again here at the track nearest to his hometown of Newmarket. And he'll have a lot of friends here today cheering him on. But can he stay ahead of the champions for the last 2 years? Ivan Muller and James Thompson. So far so good for him. 5 laps completed out of the 16, and Rob Huff still in front of Muller. Thompson's just dropped back a fraction from where he was on the previous lap. Reed is still in 4th place. We're back on board with Ivan Muller, and Huff just running over the extra bit of concrete on the exit of Sear. That doesn't hurt the car too much. But meanwhile, Matt Neal has now got past Hines, and Matt Neal's into 6th place.
Well, it just shows what fabulous racing you get when you change the weight balance on these cars, because they really can't stay at the front with maximum ballast anymore, and it's just helping the fast cars get through the traffic, and we see lots of overtaking.
On board with Muller again, into the right-hander, the bomb hole. Dips down, climbs back up very slightly. You can see that Seat moving around through these fast corners. Watch the steering wheel. Rob Huff having to work quite hard, over 100 miles an hour, and then onto the brakes, into Russell, the tightest corner on the circuit where you hop the curves, just as Rob Huff did there. He's driving brilliantly. You wouldn't think that it's his first year in the British Touring Car Championship. He's driving like a veteran, and that confidence that a race win gives you is being shown here by Rob Huff.
No question, he's driving like a veteran. This is a replay of Matt Neal diving up the inside of Luke Hines. A good late pass. Neal's shown he's very good into that corner, and that was a good clean pass. But of course, Hines, with full ballast after winning the race before, isn't trying too hard to defend. But Muller certainly is, and getting a tap for his efforts from teammate Thompson.
Well, Thompson reckoned that he'd had a tap from Muller last time out at Brands, which he wasn't too pleased about. Muller had said, well, I had the faster car, I had to come through, and Thompson said, well, if I have a faster car, then I might have to come through like that. So do not count against the possibility of a little bit of physical contact between these two cars. If Thompson sees an opportunity, I'm sure he will grab it. But right behind, look how Anthony Reid has caught.
Yeah, this is now a train of 4 cars, not 3, as Carl Breeze looks to have yet another retirement. But yeah, train of 4 cars, and this is not what Thompson wanted. He probably would have been quite happy to sit behind Muller for a few laps and just pace himself and time his manoeuvre. But now he's got Reid behind him. He's really got to get on with a hurry up and trying to pass Muller.
Yes, and in the background you could also see the 2 Hondas behind. of Dan Eves and Matt Neal. Then Luke Hines is leading a group, including Colin Turkington, Rob Collard, Jason Plato, and Stefan Hodgetts in the Alpha, who's gone well. He's in 11th place, and could do with one good result to end a weekend that's been rather disappointing with problems in the car. But up front, this four-way dice. There you are, just look in the background, you can see Luke Hines, and he's now under attack from Colin Turkington. Turkington's going to try and go around the outside, Collard on the inside, Plato on the outside. This is great racing, side by side, 4 or 5 cars all racing for position, and now Plato has to watch out and see what he can do. We're on board with Stefan Hodgetts here, in fact. Hodgetts with this really powerful Alfa Romeo engine. Hodgetts is flying. He's going to take at least one, if not 2 of these guys as they head down towards the S's. Has to slot in again. It's Turkington, Hines, Plato, and there is Hodgetts.
Well, he had a mega toe down the back straight. Who's that's gone wide? That's Plato that's run out wide. And now he's got on the marbles and got another slide on. Well, he was the one that lost out, but certainly Stefan Hodgetts, yeah, he has got a mega engine in that car.
Yeah, it's been fast on the speed tracks when he's had a chance to do a few laps. Race leader is Rob Huff, coming up to complete lap number 8. It's half distance for Rob. Second place still for Ivan Muller. James Thompson in 3rd and Anthony Reid in 4th. Now, are these Hondas catching? I think they might be gradually. Both Dan Eves and Matt Neal going very quickly at the moment. And then it's Colin Turkington. Hodgetts now running in a very good 8th place. I wonder if he can get that Alpha even further up the order. What a strong end to the season it could be for them. But Anthony Reid trying to just get on terms with these 2 Vauxhalls ahead of him.
Matt Neal is the fastest man on the track, has been consistently for the last few laps, set his fastest lap just on the last one, a 1 minute 12.4, compared to leader Rob Huff's 1 minute 13, so half a second quicker. So there is a chance that Matt Neal can get up. I'm sure his teammate Dan Eves will move out of the way fairly quickly to let the lighter and faster Matt Neal go through once he catches it.
What an opportunity this is for Rob Huff. You know, it was a last-gasp victory at Brands Hatch that earned him his first win in the series. Fully deserved win. There's his teammate, Jason Plato. But it's a different story to defend from drivers of the caliber. Oh, and Plato up the inside there, and Collard might have taken that place. It's a different story to defend from the likes of Ivan Muller, James Thompson, and Anthony Reid for lap after lap after lap. But so far, there's no signs of those little errors that can creep in when a driver's feeling under pressure.
It's a hot day. I'm sure the guys want to get a few laps under their belt and then see how the race pans out before attacking at the end of the race. That certainly goes maybe for these front four, but the 2 Hondas, the competition racing with Hondas Hondas, they're chasing after them. Rob Huff would like nothing better to win this race. Look at Ivan, how relaxed is that? Both hands off the wheel, little stretch of the arm. How relaxed is he feeling?
Oh.
Well, Rob Huff, he's driving for a job next year. He doesn't have a contract with Seat. Seat are keeping former champion Plato and the newly crowned Seat Cupra Cup champion James Bickford. They desperately want to run a 3rd car. They'd be mad to let this man go.
Yeah, he's doing such a superb job at the moment. And he has moved up to touring cars so effectively. You're on board with Ivan Muller, running second to Rob Huff. And again, Huff just managed to hold that advantage. In fact, extend it very slightly again. Just pops over the curbs there. Perfect line through the chicane. Chasing them, both Dan Eves and Matt Neal, the 2 teammates. And Matt Neal making up for that puncture and damage that was done in race number 2 and a non-finish. Starting at the back of the race in this one and moving up to 6th place and still flying, as you say, still setting the fastest laps of these lead cars and gradually closing on teammate Dan Eves. Further back, still running behind them in 7th is Colin Turkington, 8th is Stefan Hodgetts, Luke Hines is 9th, Rob Collard 10th, Plato 11th, Jason Hughes 12th and Tom Chilton is down in 13th place, but Matt Neal is chasing his teammate and closing the gap.
Getting the benefit of a little slipstream as well off his teammate, that's helping him, although running wide at Sear on that last lap won't help him catch up the gap, but he's certainly getting a little toe off his teammate and he'll have good speed down that straight, particularly if it's into a headwind.
5 points the gap in the championship between Thompson and Muller. When they came into this one, Thompson with that slight edge. If they finish as they are now, then Muller would just claim back 2 of those 5 points and they would go to the final meeting at Donington, separated by just 3 points. It's a remarkable story this season of how evenly matched both James Thompson and Ivan Muller have been, and what a fantastic job VX Racing have done in providing them with reliable, consistent cars that have enabled them to always score points. They might not have always been winning races this year because Seat, MG and Honda have hit form in 2004, but Muller and Thompson have been the most consistent. They're at it again here, and there's still nothing to choose between them in second and third places.
BX Racing have certainly done a brilliant job with these Vauxhalls. Let's not forget they've been on the winners rostrum for the last 11 races, and frankly looked like they'd lost their way a little bit at Croft, Knockhill and Brands Hatch, just slightly off the pace with the emerging Seats and MGs looking to be the dominant car. But they've bounced back in style just at the critical time, and they've done it evenly with both drivers having equal equipment. Thompson, I think, has found a little edge this weekend in the chassis setup, and that could be crucial as we're into the penultimate meeting. But BX Racing an excellent job to put these cars out, and as you say, reliability has been excellent this year.
Well, let's keep touching wood when we say that, because Thompson had an engine let go on the last lap here last year. Look behind them though, Reed has been caught by Dan Eves and Matt Neal, so fourth place is very uncertain. Thompson's still close to Muller, but behind them the black car of Anthony Reed. You can see how close both Dan Eves and this man, Matt Neal, are behind him. And as they come up towards Riches and those two start fighting, this will give Matt Neal a great run through the corner, and he's going to make it a three-way dice now as they head up towards Sear. Thompson still chasing Muller for second, and now it's all about horsepower. Who gets the best run out of here, and which of these cars perhaps has a tiny bit more horsepower than the others?
Well, Matt Neal picked up a puncture in the second race. That's why I saw him fly up at the end of this race. And one of the ways he can do that is to run out that wide over that concrete and all the rubbish. So he doesn't want to do that. But there's three possible scenarios here. Either Anthony Reid can keep them behind him. And look at the battle there between Thompson and Muller. Anthony Reid can either keep them behind them, or Eves can attack and get through, or Eves can attack and let Matt Neal get both of them.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to the last couple of laps. They'll be coming around to complete their 13th lap this time. There'll be just 3 laps remaining. Rob Huff from nowhere on the grid in a way, not quite from nowhere, but from row number 4, had the most amazing start and first couple of corners to emerge in front of Ivan Muller. Now, Dan Eves just moving out. Is he going to allow Matt Neal a bit of a chance here? Just wondering if he will to come through. But I think they'll still be going for individual results at this point. It's not as if Matt can really challenge for the outright championship. Through Riches they can't. No, he has moved out of the way, in fact. He's let Matt Neal through.
Yeah, well, he just dropped off the back of Anthony Reid there on that lap, and also had a bit of a twitch on the entrance to Riches. So I wonder just if there's the start of a problem on Dan Eves' car. I'm sure he felt that he ought to let Matt go through, but it just looked like he might have an inkling of a problem.
Rob Huff still in control though, less than 3 laps to go. He's pulled away a bit more as Muller concentrates on keeping James Thompson behind him. And Thompson has to try and make this clean if he's going to go past the Frenchman. He can't afford not to finish and then to allow Muller to finish in second. That would be a complete disaster. So both of them know they have to try and finish this race. It's not worth doing anything too risky. Meanwhile, behind them, still Anthony Reid. Now Matt Neal, that little bit closer. And Danny's just dropping back a fraction. Matt Neal closing up hugely on the brakes as Jason Plato has managed to get past Rob Pollard. These two have been racing hard all race long so far, and Stefan Hodget's just ahead of them, and he's managed to get ahead of Collard.
Yeah, it's been a battle for Plato all the way through this race after that poor start, but Matt Neal closed up on the back of Anthony very quickly over 1 lap, and well, we all know Matty will have a go, whatever the option, he'll have a go at some point, and really knows that as well, so he'll have to defend very hard.
Under 2 laps to go, Seat could be heading for yet another victory this season. What a remarkable first season they've had in the British Touring Car Championship. Vauxhall are up onto 10 wins now, still more than anyone else, but Seat have been picking them off, and if Rob can hold on, it'll be Seat's 8th win of the season. Muller still just fending off James Thompson. There is Thompson. He knows how important it is to gain each and every point. He's got the point for fastest lap, let's remember, and that could make all the difference at the end of this year. So a point gained there for Thompson would mean that Muller will score only 1 point more than him by finishing in second position.
And the team would have told him, is Matt Neal having a go? He's good on the brakes here. I think he's done it. Can he hold it in tight? Yes, he can, and get a good exit. Good move by Matt Neal. That takes some guts to do that coming round after the 110-mile-an-hour corner at Corham, and his teammate now seems to be reinvigorated, having seen Matt go past. He'll try the same manoeuvre.
Yeah, up towards Riches, but Reed makes sure he has the inside line. He'll force Dan to go the long way round. Not going to be easy to do that, but Reed does look as though he may be struggling a little bit now as they come round there on their final lap. Thompson, is he going to try anything spectacular on this last lap to take second place? Surely neither of them are going to catch the yellow and silver car ahead. That is Rob Huff, and he is going to take his second win in 2 meetings. What a remarkable turn of fortune and of skill for Rob Huff, because he won at Brands in an opportunist piece of overtaking, but this time he has led it pretty much from the start. A remarkable getaway off the line, and ever since then he's been in front, he's been in control. Muller's not been able to find a way past him. Thompson's just been stuck behind Muller, hasn't been able to get through either, and it's Rob Huff now who's only got the final corner to go to take his second win of the season. Rob Huff from nearby Newmarket comes through to win the 3rd race of the day at Snetterton. Beautifully driven. 2nd place goes to Ivan Muller, 3rd goes to James Thompson, and 4th is held by Matt Neal ahead of Anthony Reid. Look at these guys all still fighting. Turkington, I think, will finish in 7th place. Hines there is in 8th position, and then it's going to be Stefan Hodgetts, a very strong 9th place. Well done to Stefan Hodgetts, that's his best result so far, and the youngsters are on their way, because Rob Huff has done it, Stefan Hodgetts has had a good result, and the youngsters this time proving their worth against the veterans.
A great race by Rob Huff. Very often when the driver wins their first race, they snowball and win more with the confidence. The top 3, then Rob Huff, Ivan Muller and James Thompson. Fantastic drive.
Brilliant stuff from Rob Huff then, and just making his way down towards the S's, cheering away from the fans. We'll be able to hear from the winners, from Rob Huff, Ivan Muller and James Thompson, right after the break. So stay with us and we'll hear from a very happy Rob Huff. So Rob Huff, the winner at Snetterton in an absolutely superbly driven race. 2nd place, Ivan Muller. James Thompson finished in 3rd, with Matt Neal forcing his way up from 18th place on the grid to finish in 4th, one of the drives of the day. He finished ahead of Anthony Reid, Dan Eves, Colin Turkington, Luke Hines, Stefan Hodgetts getting his best results so far in the Alfa Romeo, and Jason Plato, who finished in 10th. He got held up at the start after making a good getaway, had nowhere to go, and there wasn't much he could do about it. So James Thompson finished in 3rd, still leads the championship, and Vicky is with him.
James, you managed to get the lap record, so well done on that one, but maybe not quite so well done for finishing behind Ivan.
Yeah, you know, disappointed with that. You know, in terms of the weekend, we've turned a points deficit into a points advantage, so that's all you can really hope for. But yeah, the 2nd race was a bit frustrating, and the 3rd race, a lot of work to do from 7th. You know, to get up to 3rd, you work hard, getting past people, consequently you work the tyres hard, but the car wasn't quite as good in the 3rd race. But at the end of the day, like I say, the main thing, all I'm bothered about is the championship, you know, winning a race here and there. The main thing is for me to keep ahead of Ivan, and that's all I'm really interested in.
Did you not fancy having a pop at him?
Well, I'm saving the one that I owe him after he pushed me off, pushed me wide at Brands, so don't want to even the score up just yet. So yeah, you know, he drove a canny race, and a couple of times I could have got inside him, but he'd have probably ended up off the circuit, and don't particularly like to do that.
Lovely, thank you very much, James, thank you. Now then, we have 2nd place man Ivan Muller. Ivan, that was quite a conservative race.
Yeah, it was important to be on the podium for the last race. 1st and 2nd one, I was very slow. I finished 5th and 4th. I lost the leadership of the championship, and it was urgent to find a good setup for the car for the 3rd race. And fortunately, we found it. Jimmy was a little bit lighter than me, that's why he was slightly quicker than me. But I done my best to keep him behind. It's a shame for the first place, because on the first corner I was leader. It gave me a push, I went sideways, and that changed totally the philosophy of the race. But I can be pleased, because after the beginning of the weekend, and with the weight penalty I had in the car compared to Huff, it's a good weekend. It's a good race, not a good weekend, but a good race.
Did you not have the performance to challenge Huff for a win?
No, again, because I was heavier than him. And secondly, because their weight are much lighter than us. And on terms of performance, from the beginning of the race, we were very similar. But with our weight, we stress much more our tire and our brake than them. And step by step, he went far further.
Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you, Van. And Mr. Race winner, Robert Huff. You're making a bit of a habit of this, aren't you?
Oh, what a weekend. What 2 weekends in a row, you know, with Brands Hatch and now coming into my home circuit. Struggled madly all weekend with the extra weight we've had and just the setup in general, and then made a bit of a tweak on the last race there. It was a tiny little thing and just completely transformed the car, and yeah, storming. Got an amazing start.
You did have a good start, didn't you? Because Luke Hines sort of bogged down a bit, didn't he, and held his side of the grid up.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much been the way it's been all day. Whoever started on the inside has bogged down and boxed everyone in. And yeah, just for the third time today, went around the outside of everyone, and 1 in 3 chance it worked.
Lovely, well done.
Cheers,
you.
Vic, thank you.
Back to Ben.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Well, it's great to see Rob looking so happy once again, and he has every justification. But look at the championship leaderboard now. It's still just 4 points separating James Thompson and Ivan Muller. The championship is going to go all the way to the wire. The last 3 races at Donington Park in 3 weeks' time will decide the outcome of the 2004 championship. Anthony Reid in third now, just clear of Jason Plato, but Matt Neal is still right in there too. So the battle for third place in this series, Reid, Plato and Neal, they'll all be pushing very, very hard, I think, to try and take it in those last 3 races at Donington Park. And some good moves up there for Rob Huff too. Now 7th place in the championship, courtesy of 2 wins recently.